So, Ricardo, I never thought I'd have to do this or see this,
Right.
but I have a bad movie that I'm going to recommend to you.
Oh boy.
I'm going to go as far as saying that this is the one bad movie that you need to see this year.
Good.
I am talking about War of the Worlds. You know what's so funny about this movie existing is that the last War of the Worlds movie actually
Yeah.
celebrated its anniversary, its 20th anniversary. That
Right.
would be it
Yeah.
came out in 2005. That would be the
That
Steven
was
Spielberg film.
right. Tom Cruise on, yeah.
Yeah, which
Which I remember. I remember like not loving, but I understood why it was made the way it was made. Like
same here. Yeah, I didn't love
right.
the film neither. I saw it in
Right.
theaters and I would be blown away
Me too.
because
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, Steven Spielberg and Tom
Right.
Cruise, and I mean, last time they
Right.
worked together was on the masterpiece Minority Report. So I was like, all right, well, they're coming
Right.
back together, and I see it. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah. No.
let's
I, I
go,
get.
let's
I get.
go.
I get why. I get why it was done the way it was done. Like visually, I understand the decisions that was made and like the time period. It was post 9/11. Blah 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 blah. I get all of that. Especially in something as when you make a comparison to something like as forward thinking and optimistic as Independence Day, and just 10 years, roughly 10 years contrast. That's how I think about it. So like, okay, I understand, I get it. But then I see this new movie come out, and I'm wondering why it is the way it is, and why they call it War of the Worlds. And I was like, wait. They look like they make a movie, and then they just attach a name to it just to get some hype, just to get it barely off the ground. Like a lot of things, this happened to that. Because doesn't make any sense to me why it's called. Like I get why it's called what it was, but they probably do like thought it a total afterthought, and they had a different idea for it. Um, and they wanted to just make another alien movie, maybe. Like remember those? Remember it had a couple of crappy, real cheap, crappy alien movies that came out. That kind of War of the Worlds ish, but like they do their own thing, and it's just a bunch of cheap bullshit. It feel like that. Like this is what it said. That was and yeah, this movie is so bad it basically make the record for bad movie roast and double toasted. That's why I watch it. Um,
Which
that's
by the way, I watched
yeah, that's
just
hilarious.
before we met online, but
Yeah, that is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And they decide to like, do this one time, Jordan. Like one
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. For the first time ever in their history. I mean,
Ever.
shout
Yeah,
out to
ever.
Double Tuesday, right? But yeah, that bad
You know?
movie Roos was excellent. I love it, right?
Yeah.
But
One
yeah,
time.
look, I'll put it like this, right? So after I saw that movie, I pretty much gorged on reviews of that movie. Dog, I found I Hate Everything's second channel. I didn't even know he had a second channel till like a couple days ago, and he talked about that movie. And his reaction to it was hilarious, right? And I actually agree with him, because we kind of echo the same opinion, right? So let me start off my review by saying this, right? This is one of the greatest bad movies I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna give my rating
I
for this
I,
one
I
time.
can't I can't get into this kind of
Uh,
stuff
uh
because it's like it just feel like it was just I can't get into low effort bullshit. Like you see this kind of nana bad filmmaking, like this is pandemic and these kind of things. I have zero patience with that. That shit was kind of cute like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That's it. That just stopped being cute now. Like I just tired of that nonsense. Like it's just some asshole who look like he wasting money. At no point I get the sense that you try. That's my problem. Like back in the days when it had bad movies and it was film, I get it because it was film, right? It's a film. You could cut. Film is difficult work. You had to cut it. You could understand why a bad movie would exist in that sense because you could lose film, you could lose reels. But in today's world, like you serious? Let's go shoot this over now. Like, sit down and pop up the script. It don't take you long. How long you take to make this? How much money you gonna make from this? Like, at no point I could take this seriously as a project unless it's like some joke thing. Then fine. But like, and I just seen like all these other people like masterpieces who making like amazing edits on TikTok and things like fella Arek make this amazing like Creed edit on TikTok that blowing everybody away. It's like 10 seconds or whatever. That thing or like that guy who made a parody like similar to Black Dynamite called Super Nigga. It's great. It's like really
oh, I
funny and
want to
well
see
done. And
that. Just off that title
yeah,
alone,
yeah,
I want to see that shit.
yeah. It's like making fun of like superheroes, but also doing black exploitation, and it's a whole thing. Stuff like that. Like, look, I have zero patience for catering to this kind of nonsense because, like, listen, if it's funny and you're enjoying it, fine. Because like the Double Toasted review was legit hilarious, but like I can't get myself to watch this nonsense anymore.
All right. Well, I totally understand where you're coming from, right? But I'll give you a
Yeah.
reason. I'll give you a few reasons why. Well, a key reason why you should watch this movie, right? But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna give my rating for this one time. Fuck it. This as a bad movie, as what will be on my worst stuff list for sure. Yeah, this gets a 5 out of 5. You need to see this movie before you die. You need to see this movie, and I'll tell you why, right? So great comparison with Birdemic and stuff like that, right? 'Cause remember, those
Right.
movies were just done by filmmakers who just were so high, they were just high off their own supply. They said, here's what, I have a few like bank, paychecks that I put in the bankers yet. I want to make a
Right.
movie because it's that type of a filmmaker where, they were inspired by El Mariachi from Robert Rodriguez and said, oh, I could take $70,000 and make my own movie. So he does that, right? And you get shit like Birdemic, right? But this one is different. This one is absolutely different because this is a cheap movie. This is a cheap movie, and yet there are tons of product placement. You are seeing phone apps. You are seeing multi-million dollar brands. You are seeing the names of some of the biggest influencers in the world, right? And they are somehow incorporated into a movie that looks like it was just made for 500 US, with actors who probably got a ton of money for just basically doing nothing. That would be Ice Cube. That would be Longoria, who I didn't even know was in this movie. Clark Gregg, who probably just had nothing to do because Marvel Studios didn't call him to do any voice work for any animated show, or they didn't find a way to put Coulson into any of these new I don't know, late Phase 5 to early Phase 6 MCU movies or whatever. And he just did this thing, so you're seeing not a lot of big name actors, but there's recognizable people, right? This I would say this as a positive, right? I mean, the cast they did what they did, right? The actors did what they did, right? It's just that the direction from Rich Lee, who I've never heard of, to be honest. The big joke now is that he did have, sorry, a music video direction background, and one of the videos that he did, or I should say a couple of videos that he did, was for Diddy, right? He did a couple of Diddy videos. That's all you'll see, and people kind of making him out for that, right? But whatever, right? But
Wait,
yeah, I
oh, you
mean,
do stuff for, yeah, I saw that. You do stuff for Diddy, right? Also.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He did. Remember when he had that band? Is it Diddy
Right.
Dirty Money or Dirty
Yeah, it's
Money?
recent stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more recent stuff that really work out. It just kind of fell flat. Rapper.
yeah, yeah. So remember that song "Coming Home"? That. Oh gosh, boy, is when they work it into various like media. Like I think like even WWE and all took that "I'm coming home" and put that in one of the promos or some shit like that. I can't remember, right? But yeah, that song, which was it's very mediocre now when you look at it, right? But yeah, that was song was overhyped now because it was Diddy's comeback, right? But whatever. But yeah, the
Right.
man have a music video background, right? But yeah, what really makes, again, just have to repeat, right? What makes this thing really fascinating, right? Is that there are all these products, all these brands, all these apps, right? That are in this movie. And right from the jump, you would tell yourself, all right, well, this movie should be costing something in the thousands or in the millions or something like that, right? But then you realize, no, actually, it actually plays out like again, like a birdemic film, right? And then it's while you watched it and you kind of figured out for yourself, right? But this was revealed through the reviews and all that kind of stuff. This was made in 2020. This was actually made during the pandemic, right? And when you
Right.
look
Right.
at the film, it shows. It absolutely shows, right? But that's why I say, Ricardo, it is one of those shows you have to see it. Because I have never in a million years, right? Yes, a million years, right? Like if I lived for a million years, right? But I've never in all of my life, right, seen a cheaply made film that incorporated all of these multi-million dollar elements. So while you're watching this, right, it looks painfully cheaper, but you will see CNN, and you'll see Fox News, and you'll
Let me
see
just, oh my,
BBC, and you just they're like,
I saw,
where the
I
money
don't know,
going? Who get
yeah, because I saw,
where all the checks going to?
yeah, because I saw they have like Joe Rogan and any kind of things in it, right?
Yeah. You can't put Joe Rogan's name without him getting a bag, right? And even
Right,
Ice Cube
exactly.
and all too have to have gotten a bag, right? In his career. He had to have gotten something for this, right? But what also catch me too, right? And this is the key to all this stuff being stitched together the way it is, right? So I forgot the name, I forgot the term of it, right? They actually said it in their double toasted roast, right? I forgot the term of it, right? But is that same visual film style that they use in Searching, which is a great movie. This was one of my favorite movies of 2018. Don't mind Blind Spot and beat it, but I think if I'm not mistaken,
Right,
you had Searching and Blind Spot as number one. I
right,
think
right, right.
that
Yeah.
was it, right?
I forget what it's called, but it's the whole what is Windows, internet Windows stuff now, where it's just
Yeah.
everything through the perspective of a person watching on camera, and then you're piecing together actions on a computer.
Exactly. So you're getting cam footage, you're getting Zoom or Skype footage. Well, not Skype anymore, but Zoom footage. But
Right,
you're also getting stuff off your phone. But you're also seeing
right,
WhatsApp, and the entire film is built like that, right? And I should also say the sequel Missing, which I covered and I really enjoyed as well, right? Yeah, it has that same style, right? Now remember in those two films, right? Or even if you haven't seen it, right? Those two films, right? They establish early on why that style is used, right? They were set up early on that is about, capturing memories, right? So, they use that to build the character, to give you the conceit of the stories, to understand the emotional stakes involved, right? So when the character or the relative of the character is kidnapped or gone missing, you understand why that matters to the lead. And then the lead has to do everything that he or she has to do to find them, right? So when the character now is disappears or whatnot now, the lead is like, oh my god, like no, I need to figure out everything I could. So I have to call this
right,
person, I have to do X, Y, Z, I have to do everything within my power to find this thing. I'll put up in a net, right? Everything within my power to find my relative, right? So put up in a net. Also, the characters at a point in time in the movie actually got off of their asses and went outside and did things. They were out, like especially in Missing, they were out on their phone calling people and you're following them on the way. The characters would actually go into certain places or end up in certain places. They are not at home, they're not in one spot doing everything. They are on the move. They are actually looking for the relative, right? So about this movie, what this movie is about, right? Is that Ice Cube, right? Plays Will Radford, right? He is a member of the Department of Homeland Security, right? So basically, it's all about government surveillance, right? So his job is just to track everybody. Any which way, he tracked them, right? Through security cameras, through Amazon wish lists, through Facebook or social media interactions. That's his job, right? That's what he does, right? And then while he's doing that now, he's helping the FBI track this mysterious hacker called the Disruptor, right? And the reveal of who this character is, I didn't laugh at it. I was watching this on my
right.
laptop,
At
dog.
at this
Yeah,
point for
you
me,
had this
so
spoil
I
because
know
you
it,
watched the double toasted reveal, it.
yeah, I know
But
it's
when that
yeah.
reveal happened, Jed, I just flipped two middle fingers to my laptop screen. I was like, "Fuck all your Jed. Fuck
Yeah,
all your Jed
strippers.
for that shit. Fuck you for that shit." But yeah, he doing all that, right? And then just out of the blue, there's this alien invasion, right? So to touch on why this movie is called War of the Worlds, right? And forgive my folks, I had to spoil this, right? So it is painfully clear when you watch this movie that this movie was not called War of the Worlds. This was not greenlit
Right.
to be a remake of H.G. Wells' timeless, classic book,
Right.
right?
In my head, it have like multiple versions of a story, so you could do something like that. Here's a perfect example: The Invisible Man. It have two
Correct? Mm-hmm.
different books called Invisible Man. And in my head, I was thinking, if it's possible to square the idea. So when I see they do War of the Worlds, I thought, oh, they're going to make up something as idea to square the ideas there. I'm close. Not even close. Rubbish. Well,
Exactly, right?
yeah.
So, yes, the aliens themselves, or at least the machinery that they move with, right? The vehicles that they use, if you will, right? Yes, they have they are tripods, right? And yes, if you remember, if it's one synonymous thing with War the Worlds and whatever film versions or iterations that you get, yes, they always have to have the tripod look because it is a genuinely terrifying look, right? These giant machines and they have three legs. That's genuinely frightening, right? Whatever version of the book you read or the movie that you see, whatever it is, that's a genuinely frightening look, right? But I just feel like this had that there because, and here's my theory, right? With all the paychecks that Amazon and Facebook and whoever it is get, right? I feel like the VFX team behind this movie got the least amount of money, Hus. Because
Right.
yes, this is some of the
I
worst
wait some, yeah.
VFX you will ever see in a movie. This is on some asylum shit. Like even
Yeah.
asylum with all
Yeah.
all the
Because
with all the laughter we just threw at them, right? Since Sharknado blew up, right? Plus,
right.
their VFX looks much better than this, right?
Right.
And this show have the goal, right? Because we working with this whole, we using like computer screens and whatnot, right? They had the goal to use a lot of like glitchy VFX, glitchy After Effects moments, right? To make it look like, oh, what you're seeing is like kind of distorted, man. So, oh no, but this is off of somebody, like a news, like a videographer, cameraman, or it being live streamed, so that's why it look glitchy. No, 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 no. It is painfully clear you're doing that because the VFX budget was very, very, very low. There's numerous moments I'm watching this is like, wait, the Universal released this? Because yes, Universal is the first logo that you see for this, right? I'm like, wow, that would even look like Universal. That would even look like Universal. Like you could have terrible. You could have like Universal could or other studios could put out shitty movies with decent visual effects. This is just a terrible movie with shitty VFX, right? But yeah, I am watching this thing, and yeah, the VFX look terrible. It looked cheap, right? And
Right.
yet,
Right.
I am still seeing BBC, CNN, Fox
Right.
News, Amazon, WhatsApp, Facebook. I'm seeing all these things. That's why I'm telling you, Ricardo, you had to see this. I have never seen a bad movie with all these brands, all these products, all these things. And I'm wondering, how was this movie even made? Because money had to have been shelved out to these
Right.
brands, these studios. Plus, this blew my mind, right?
It looked like mismanagement of money too. Like that's happened a lot. So
Okay, okay.
I know I was getting in trouble for this, but there's a certain film, a certain local film that also felt like mismanagement of money, right? I'm not saying necessarily
Uh-huh.
not necessarily corruption, but like, oh, this thing that gonna cost a lot, not really worth it, and they shouldn't have paid for it. It's just a thing, and it's
Uh-huh.
like they probably had to they try to find out to get a certain actor, and then that didn't really work out because he wasn't that impressive or interesting, and they probably should have just not like go with it and save the cash. That's what this feel like. Like you don't need to do all that bullshit or cater to Joe Rogan, or you don't need to do that. You're overthinking it. That would feel like.
Now, if you're talking about the movie that I think you're talking about, all I
Right.
want to say is that right now you could go on a certain site
Right.
and pay about a $6. I don't know if it's to buy in quotes or rent the movie, but you had to pay
Right.
like you had to cough up, you had to shell out like a $5 or $6 to even
Yeah.
watch that film. That's all you'll see.
Right.
If this is the same shit we're talking about, then yeah,
Well,
it's like that.
last time I checked. Last time I checked, it was on YouTube for free. So I don't.
That's why I don't
Well,
understand. I don't know if it's still
no,
there. Right.
yeah.
So we talk about the same show. I don't know if it's still there, but yes, you are
Right.
right. It was on YouTube, right? But whatever. Moving on, right? So yeah, that's what I said, boy, because there are numerous moments where I swear, okay, something went wrong here. Like, all right, but okay, the VFX is shit, but dog, you get Ice Cube, you get Eva Longoria, you get Clark Gregg, you get these people. I
Right.
know they get a bag for this. Okay.
Right.
But here's the moment that really catch me off guard, right? I am seeing news reports, right? Because this show's so lazy, right? Because instead of actually showing the character in the midst of all of this chaos, right? Because it's worldwide chaos, right? I'll get to the reason why I think the show is titled like that in a bit, right? The character unlike the leads in Searching and Missing, spends a majority of his time in his office, pretty much reaching out to everybody, calling people or answering calls. There's a very cringy moment, in the beginning of the film where he is tracking both his daughter, his pregnant daughter, her baby daddy, who just so happens to be an Amazon driver. He just so
Right.
happens to be an Amazon driver, right? Yeah. So again, you are in one room at the DHS, right? And you just calling people up, calling people up. It's like, and you tell your daughter, okay, you need to get here, you need to get here. There's a line horse when I hear that, I stopped the show. I was laughing my ass off. I went up on Facebook. I put as my status. You see that Tesla over there? That's the show.
Right.
That's the show encapsulated in one line. You see that Tesla over there? The man was able to hack into various cameras around a certain block because Homegirl, as in Ice Cube's daughter, is pregnant, right? And she get this piece of metal in she leg, and she bleeding and whatnot, right? And he trying to help out, right? So he just kind of guiding her, he even checking her heartbeat and all that kind of stuff. Of course, the blood pressure reason and all that, right? So he able to pick up on the fact that there's a fucking Tesla parked nearby. He's like, you see that Tesla over there? I want you to go inside it. He hack into that now. So yes, he able to control the shit now while she is there in the back seat, right?
Yeah.
In order for
Which
she
is
to get the hospital.
yeah, which is nonsense.
That's the
That's
type of show we're talking about, right? A
yeah, that's
Tesla, bro.
moving on.
A Tesla, right? And yes,
Yeah, this
this man is like the greatest hacker on planet Earth, right? Because he is able to just pull up he is pulling up command prompts like he going nuts
yeah,
us. He just doing
yeah,
right
that's true.
clicks on drones, right? And going here, there, everywhere, and being able to control all this shit from the comfort of his computer. He making calls on Zoom, he making calls on WhatsApp, he doing all these things, right? And at no point in time does the show ever stop to say, dog, why are you there doing all of this stuff first? Why are you not home with your daughter? Why are you not home with your son? And yes, like I said, there's a twist. All right, so there's a twist involving the
Yeah,
son. When I saw that,
yeah, yeah,
that's when I flipped
I
the
know
two
what it
middle
is already.
fingers. I was like, "Fuck you,
Yeah,
movie!
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
this
yeah,
to me, right?"
right.
But it was kind of funny, yeah. When I think about it, I was like, nah, fuck all that. Well, they're not serious, right? But yeah, boy, the show just delegates this guy to be seated throughout the majority of the film, right? So let's move it quickly before I get to read it, right? While I was watching the show, I wasn't really thinking about it, right? But yeah, it becomes painfully clear, Dread, that this is indeed a COVID movie to the point that no two characters are ever in the same spot at the same time. So Ice Cube is always in his office barking orders, and it's clear that he was either in his home doing this or he was in a set doing this. Now, as for how long the shoot took, I don't know. I don't know how long that shoot took. I wouldn't be surprised if that shit took a day for him to film, right? That he just get a bag out of that. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, right? But what is gonna make this show timeless, boy, is the amount of memes you could pull from Ice Cube's performance alone. There's numerous moments where you could screenshot that shit and just be like that feeling when or whatever it is. You could make whatever meme you want to, dog. Just offer that man reactions, right? And talk about his poor direction. His reactions to everything. Like he would watch a news report and he'd be like, he would just kind of put his hands on his head and be like, oh my God. He's like, oh my God. He'd be like, no, oh fuck, oh my God. Or you would like, like he would twitchy, like he would twitchy nose, or you push up the rimmy glasses, whatever it is. The man has little to work with. So he has to pretend that he's reacting to things, right? You saw this in the bad movie Rose, right? There's a moment to us where he is watching one screener, he watching one video feed, right? And he has eyes in his head moving back and forth, like he watching two things at the same time, dog.
Yeah,
Like, dog, you're watching one fucking screen. Why you moving your head back and forth like you're watching a ping pong match, dog? What is this? So I cannot genuinely say that this Ice Cube is a terrible actor. I will not say that. I will not say that. I have mad respect for the man. But it is terrible direction as man was given, and at the end result being a performance where you could screenshot so many moments, Dread, and pull so much shots and just come up with whatever meme you could come up with, right? It is laughably and painfully bad to watch, right? And as far as the whole stuff with the WhatsApp screens, all that kind of stuff, right? On paper, conceptually, it kind of makes sense. Given the nature, given when the show is filmed, it kind of makes sense doing it like that, right? But it lacks the wit though, and with searching and missing, they never felt gimmicky. It was to the service of the story because, like I said, the lead never sat in one space, in one spot in the whole movie. He or she got up and did things. They went out and did things. The closest that Ice Cube does is try to get out of the building, but he's trapped and he runs back to the room and he's barking orders to everybody. And then, out of spoilers, right? And then this moment, boy, blew my mind, right? There's a moment involving him having to get a thumb drive, right? We used to call it flash drives in Trinidad, right? But a thumb drive. Because they do the Independence Day thing where it's like, oh, we need to do a virus, right? We need to implant the virus, right? Because, yes, or I should say the aliens themselves, right? Why they are here is not to really destroy the earth, even though they're coming up and blowing up shit, right? All over the world. They are here to feast on data,
Well,
as in
right.
man-made data, as in every
Yeah, but like,
piece of data that you could think of.
but
They just come
but
out of the
physically,
blue, out from wherever universe, wherever it is. They come to Earth, right, to feast on data. And there's this subplot now involving the disruptor and this thing called Goliath. This, what I guess is a program or a server that has
okay.
all like the world's data and like all these
Yeah,
the
basically,
government
it's
secrets
not
and
the
shit.
same. It's not the same. Neither the same plot of pixels.
Could be. Right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And he was using video game characters to do it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Or
right,
digitize everything or something like
yeah.
that. Or,
And there's this whole conspiracy theory bullshit. Like, dog, what is all this? But again,
yeah.
the aliens come down to Earth to feed on our data husk. So there's this very cringe but very laughable moment, right? Where Ice Cube's Facebook page literally is destroyed right in front of his eyes. You are seeing pictures being removed, and then this ends up with the whole 4-4 error thing. I was like, wow, boy, they real play this off to be serious with it. I like, wow, boy, are they serious? Are they serious with this? But yeah, that moment now involves the thumb drive now having to be sent to the to the DHS, right? But here's the thing. Now the Amazon driver now had to use this what is this one? He had to use a drone now that he powering with a
Right.
VR headset now. So he has to fly he had to fly, sorry, the drone to the building to deliver the thing to deliver the thumb drive, sorry, to Ice Cube. And they real play this out as this dope action scene. I watched this thing and I cringing and I laughing, but at the same time I'm like, wow, boy, this is some of the most amazing filmmaking I have seen in a long, long while. Like you cannot, you can't, like Hus, you can't imagine this shit, Trey. Like you have to see this. You have to see it. You have to see it for yourself, Trent. That's the best way I can sum it up, right? But as a wrap up, right? So about the title of the movie, right? There is a moment after spoilers. So in addition to being the greatest hacker in the planet, right? The man is like this super genius, right? Because he is picking up. Okay, so I forgot to mention, folks. Forgive me about this. I forgot to mention, right? With the news reports, right? There is a serious amount of stock footage in this movie, as in stuff that either was pulled or requested from these same stations that I mentioned, as in BBC, CNN, and whatnot, right? But they splice so lazily to kind of give the impression like, the world's, leaders are now kind of try to, the United Nations, and now the armies of the world are gonna unite to stop these aliens. But it's because now Ice Cube tell POTUS, sorry, tell the president, right? This is how the aliens are moving, and this is what we need to do. He just figured this stuff out in about an hour's time after watching all these news reports. And while he doing that now, he following up on his son, he followed up on his daughter, right? He even followed up on the Amazon guy, right? He followed up on everybody, right? Even on Evan Longoria, because she also works with him as well. And she on the ground also, well, on the ground, right? She probably filmed this outside she house, and they make it look like, she's in the midst of all the invasion, all the chaos, all that kind of stuff, right? Remember, it's 2020, right? But yeah, and he's able to formulate a plan. He tells the president the planner, and the president is like, "Yep, this is what we're gonna do. I approve this, right?" And then he sends out this message to the world now that yes, our war of the worlds. I want you to understand this, right? After Ice Cube tells the president of the United States, this is how the aliens moving, right? And this is what we need to do. The president now want to say, he want to give our today we celebrate our Independence Day. He want to make it real dramatic, right? He want to do it like that, right? So he
Yeah,
kind of
like
said,
what's the character? Fuck, I forget the actor name in
um,
Independence Day.
also,
President Whitmore. President Whitmore, but I forget the actor name. Oh gosh, it's
okay,
slipping my mind.
Bill Pullman, yeah,
Bill
that's
Pullman, thank you, right?
Yeah, that's why I say the today we celebrate our Independence Day is that kind of thing
Right,
there. They
right,
even do a
right,
better version of that they even do a version of that in the Rock too, where it's like, all right,
right.
this is our last hour. We need to do this. But that moment was hard, eh? That was hard. I love that movie, by the way, right? But yeah, it's that moment. But he basically incorporate the term War of the Worlds. And it don't even fit, it don't even
You know,
connect.
he had was he Family Guy bit? He said it. He had
Yeah,
to say it. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
good.
exactly. And that is why, swear to God, that title is there. So probably as a wrap up here, probably they probably did that in post because they had time to work on the shit, because yeah, they probably had test screenings, they probably shelve it, or probably they realize, oh my god, what did we do? What have we done? And just put it on the shelf there. They say, what? What gonna make people actually watch the shit if we give it a familiar title. So they just have a moment where a character say War of the Worlds, right? But then that brings up the question, why call it War of the Worlds then? What worlds? We don't even know where the aliens come from though.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
that's just me overthinking things, right? So as I wrap things up, right? So already gave you rating 5 out of 5, right? But yes, I cannot stress this enough. This is one of the best bad movies I have ever seen. I will go as far as saying that this is the Plan 9 from outer space of the
Right,
first
right,
quarter of the 21st century, where this is a
right.
show that wants to take itself seriously. It wants to be fun with it too. It wants to be snarky with it too. But you could tell that this is just piss poor direction, piss poor writing, and piss poor acting that they real try to to cover up to make it look like this is some legit hidden masterpiece that's now gonna be revealed to the world. You know what I mean? It is not that. But again, the main takeaway from all this, right, is that even though this is a very, very cheap movie, yeah, especially to the VFX, I don't know how Ice Cube get roped into this, or Eva Longoria, or Clark Gregg, again, like I say, who probably, Marvel Studios was reaching out to him to get him work. I don't know. Maybe that's why he in this movie, whatever. But I don't understand how a movie could be like Birdemic level cheap, right? Like Asylum level cheap, right? And still have all these brands and logos in them. And it's not like say it's not like the Sharknado sequels, like Part 2, for example, where the real try to play it off. Like, say, for example, like Samurai Cop 2. Oh, we know that this is a joke, folks. Ha ha ha, get it? So let's just have all these random celebrities come in and let's have them be on the joke too. Ha ha ha, we get it because the first one was supposed to be funny, you know what I mean? Like, remember that shit. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. They really wanted this thing to be some kind of big budget kind of blockbuster, but they wanted it to be something that you could watch at home. Like it's almost like a Netflix film, But even Netflix, with the movies with the shitty movies that they were pumping out during the pandemic, right? At least they put money into making the shit look good, right? At least see what you want, like with what is my Red Notice? Whatever the name of the movie is, that one with
Right,
the Rock and it was Rock and
yeah,
Ryan Reynolds, right? Um,
yeah,
at least they went out of the way to say, hey, at least the show looks like something you should watch at home. Sorry, I'll put it like this. Like, it looks theatrical. it looks theatrical, right? You could talk about the VFX being being effective for days on, right? But at least they just go out of the way to make the show look theatrical, right? But this one don't even do that. Like it just looks very very cheap, right? But they use a familiar technique, right, with with searching and missing to give the sense that you're watching something that you can watch theatrically. I watched Searching and Missing in theaters, and I had a blast watching both films, right? So they're giving you the impression that you're watching something theatrical, right? And okay, we have Ice Cube. I mean, everybody you know who Ice Cube is, right? So boom, there you go, right? But you have shitty VFX. You have stock footage that really painfully looks like stock footage just done to mask the fact that you didn't have money to show an actual alien invasion with actual explosions and actual tripods that look real enough for me to believe it and whatnot. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's all that stuff too. But with all the talk I give this show, none of what I say really could do it justice. It's really something that you have to see for yourself. This is a watershed moment as far as 21st century filmmaking goes us. Yeah, I call it right now. This is going to go down as one of the greatest bad movies ever made in human history, because at the end of the day, you will watch this and be like, how was this even made? Again, you have Joe Rogan name in this. You have Ice Cube literally front and center, to the point that he is mostly in close-ups, mostly. And you have Facebook, WhatsApp, Amazon being referenced, left, right, and center. Tesla was referenced. How's that mean money was involved? But again, where did the money go to? It sure as hell didn't go to the VFX team. It sure as hell didn't go there, right? But yeah, I talk about this show way too long enough. Ricardo, you need to watch this. That's all I say. You need to watch this. Watch it to its entirety. Because this is a show that I predicted this, right? There will be video essays made about this. Yes, I mean there will be roasts left, right, etc. But there has to be a video essay made about this movie, Dread. Because I don't understand. Even within the midst of COVID, how was a movie like this even made? Why was a movie like this even made? Why does it have War of the Worlds outside of the spoiler that I just made? Why is this called War of the Worlds? All these questions had to be asked in a video essay of some sort, though. I'm not gonna do it, huh? I'm not gonna do it. I don't have the patience to make a video essay like that, right? But I will. I will definitely rewatch this movie, boy. This is certainly a movie that you have to watch with friends. You have to get shit face watching this, boy, and trust me, you will be laughing your ass off literally from start to end, right? But think about it as a COVID production, Trevor. You will be baffled and speechless and just questioning all through the movie, how was this even made? But yeah, like I say, this is one of the greatest bad movies ever made. This is a show that will be remembered for the test of time. And even if we kind of collectively forget about it over the years, trust me, just offer Ice Cube's reactions alone, boy. Yeah, this movie will forever live on. It will forever live on. And that is all that I have to say about Rich Lee's War of the Worlds, not to be confused with Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, boy. But as a clever truth though, I don't know if you have any last words to say, boy, outside of no Matthew, I'm not gonna watch that shit. Fuck you. Why you recommend this shit to me? But yeah, anything you just wanna say about this movie and its existence?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I'm more likely not going to watch this. I'm not going to curse you out for it, but probably not. Like I'll probably skip it. Yeah, I don't know. I might probably catch it at the end of the year or something like that for worst stuff of the year, whatever it is. So that is about it. Yeah.
So Ricardo, even if I were to like invite you to like a lime or something like that, and say, hey, we watching War of the Worlds, you want to do just say no.
I might come. Whatever. I like. Who cares?
Yeah. yeah. But yeah, you could go on. You could close things off. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to say. I mean, it's like, whatever. Moving on. Like, I have nothing to say about this. Is everything everybody say about it. Everybody dance on the grave, and I kind of don't. I really don't. Like, I can't get myself to care because like at no point. You see, when you have something that you try and you fail, okay, we could talk about that, right? How much I hate Batman v Superman. At least that was a movie. That's something try and fail, right? But what is this? Like, what am I supposed to respond to exactly? Like, this bullshit was the point here. Yeah, well, moving on. Next.
Yeah, next.